We could have everyone find their seats. We'll begin the ceremony. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and thank you for attending the 2020 AHL Hall of Fame induction ceremony and watching online on AHL TV. This year's class includes Darren Haydar, Denny Amell, Robbie Ftorek, and Fred Thurier. They are the 15th group to have their careers recognized with the AHL's highest honor. With that, I'd like to thank the honorees, their families, and for all of those in attendance that have supported hockey careers throughout the years. Thank you to the players for their commitment to the weekend, to the show they put on last night. It gets even better tonight, but I'm still coming down from that hardest shot at 1:09.2, my goodness. To the alumni in attendance as well, for your continued support of the league and the current players. Thank you to the Greater Ontario Convention Centre and Visitors Bureau hosting this great event, and what venue for this event, as well as the Ontario International Airport as our presenting sponsor. Of course, the LA Kings, Ontario Reign, AEG, and ASM Global for their help in putting on a first-class event and setting the bar for the Pacific Division, so thank you very much. My name is John Abbott. It's an honor to be part of this event and this weekend. I, as well as an AHL graduate, going back to my play-by-play days with the Toronto Marlies, moving to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and previously the Vancouver Canucks. So I'm a small part of that good story of moving up from the American Hockey League. Since 1936, the AHL has served as the top development league when it comes to graduating almost any hockey position to the National Hockey League. Nearly 90% of today's NHLers are American Hockey League grads. The league continues to make strides. I think all of us would take more Pacific Division events. And with the addition of Palm Springs in 21-22, that's certainly a lot to be excited about. Let's welcome the man that is responsible for growing the league and its success in his 26th year as president and CEO, Mr. David Andrews.
It is my privilege on behalf of our Board of Governors to welcome all of you to the 2020 AHL Hall of Fame induction and award ceremony. We are proud to be hosting this event here in Ontario and in the state of California and in our Pacific Division. There would be no AHL hockey on the West Coast, there would be no Pacific Division if it weren't for the efforts of Luc Robitaille, who is with us here today. Our expansion to California in 2015 has led to additional Western-based franchises in Tucson and in Colorado. And in 2021, as John mentioned, we will be adding a team in Palm Springs as our 32nd AHL franchise and the 8th member of the Pacific Division. Luc is with us today. He's an honored member of the Hockey Hall of Fame, and other than one other guy, perhaps the most legendary LA King in history, and I'm not sure whether the other guy is first or second. So Luc, on behalf of all of us, thank you so much for hosting us and for all you've done for the American Hockey League. We also wouldn't be here today if it weren't for the passionate fans here in Ontario, and as we saw last night, it's a pretty good fan rivalry between Ontario and San Diego. I don't think I've seen that before in any of our All-Star events. It was pretty special, and it was very nice of Darren Abbott and Steve to put all you San Diego fans in one block so you could really take them on. I'd like to thank our broadcast team of John Abbott from TSN in Vancouver, Mike McKenna from the Vegas Golden Knights. If you were in the building last night, those were the guys you saw on the screen. And Cameron Close, the play-by-play voice of the Ontario Reign. All three of them did a wonderful job last night, and we're looking forward to this evening's telecast, which will go all across Canada and the United States on TSN2 and on the NHL Network, and in Europe, and on our streaming platform, AHL TV. All three of these individuals have a close relationship to the American Hockey League and have spent much of their career in the American League. Mike McKenna, in fact, is amongst the all-time leading goaltenders in the history of our league, and we're proud to have him in his first broadcast year join us this season. This morning we're going to be also honoring our honorary captains, and we're very proud to have them with us, and they will be introduced later on in more detail. But to Robb Stauber and Derek Armstrong, both former LA Kings and both former stars in the American Hockey League, we're proud to have them with us. We're going to focus on 4 AHL legends today at our Hall of Fame induction ceremony. But before we do that, I want to congratulate our stars of today. What a great performance they put on last night. Congratulations to all of you on your selection to be All-Stars in the American Hockey League, and thank you for the great show you put on last night, and we're looking forward to another one tonight. I do want you all to know, and of course the hardest shot thing last night to Martin Ferk, thank you so much. That was a highlight of our AHL history, and the hardest shot that he achieved was a new AHL record, but also broke the NHL record set by Zdeno Chara. So a pretty big night. You saw history made last night if you were there, and to see the players congregate, and I mean 48 guys mobbing one player, we haven't seen that before, but the players knew that they just saw something very special, so congratulations to Martin. To the players who are representing their teams here, just a reminder that I think all of you always can use, that being in the American Hockey League is a pretty good opportunity. And when you're at the top of the list in the American Hockey League and you're an AHL All-Star and you're worried about the future of your career, I just want to remind you that Zdeno Chara also played in this event. So did Pekka Rinne, Mike Hoffman, Braden Holtby, Patrice Bergeron, Corey Schneider, Mike Camilleri, PK Subban, Danny Briere, and I could go on and on of NHL stars who made their way to the NHL through the AHL All-Star Classic. So your future is ahead of you, and if you're one of the top players in our league, you're ready for the next one. A big thank you to our All-Star coaches, Chris Knobloch from Hartford, Chris Taylor from Rochester, Carl Taylor we got two Taylors and two Chris's. Carl Taylor from Milwaukee and Jay Verata from Tucson. Those coaches had their teams leading their divisions at the appropriate date, and we're happy to have them here with us representing their clubs as well. Our officials for tonight's event, who we often forget, have been selected based upon their service to the American Hockey League, and we congratulate Ryan Hersey and Furman South, who will be our referees, James Parker and Brent Tubbs, our linesmen. They're here today, and congratulations to them on their selection. Also with us this morning, I want to acknowledge Larry Landon, the Executive Director of the Professional Hockey Players Association, which is our players' union. We have just concluded a new 5-year collective bargaining agreement a couple of months ago. We have an excellent relationship with our Players Association, which is a credit to Larry and his staff. They do a wonderful job representing their players and their families, and we thank them for all of their support. So once again, on behalf of the HL family, on behalf of our players, on behalf of our Board of Governors and our sponsors and our owners, we thank you all for being here and congratulate our Hall of Fame inductees. Thanks very much. And as I said to the media guys across the hall, it's not my first time doing this, but it is my last time.
Thank you, Dave. Also playing a large role in the Ontario portion of the California expansion was President CEO of the Greater Ontario Convention Center and Visitors Bureau, Mr. Michael Kraus. Let's welcome Michael to the stage.
Well, hello. I'm loud. I don't really need a microphone, and for this small of a group, I could easily do it without a microphone. So my apologies for my bellowing voice. I'm well known for a little loud and can talk to a group in the arena without a microphone. So anyway, welcome to the Greater Ontario area, and welcome specifically to our beautiful convention center. The region you're in today is not Ontario, Canada, okay? You've got to spell it out. California, not Canada. This region represents the Inland Empire itself represents 2 counties, and in these 2 counties, the land mass is actually larger than about 25 states. So it gives you an example of where you sit. The population of this area is about 5 million people. To put that in perspective, that's bigger than some counties, territories. The city of Los Angeles, for example, has 5 million. One of the largest growing regions in the nation as well, but also that can be attested to by our Ontario International Airport, which has had the 2nd year in a row of the largest growth in the United States of passengers and cargo. So this airport is growing. This area is the fastest growing area in the world. And it's an exceptional place to work, live, and play, especially if you play at our Toyota Arena. The AHL All-Star 2020 is important to the region, the city of Ontario, and of course, our fans here. And that's primarily because of the economic impact this team and this event bring to our area, which is almost $4.2 million. All the monies that all of you spend in our hotels and in our region for going out to dinner, joining your friends and family here, and spending money in our hotels brings that kind of money to this region. And that's why we're partnering with the Reign and with the AHL on this great opportunity. As the president and CEO of the Greater Ontario Convention and Visitors Bureau, my primary goal is to bring economic impact and economic growth to the region. We do that in a variety of ways, but I hope while you're here, you'll take time to go and visit the Ontario Mills, where we have our beautiful California Welcome Center, where you can find out information about the entire state. We have more than 30,000 people a month visit our center. So we hope you'll take time, and be sure that you enjoy the Fashion Alley and the other items that are available to you at our outlet center. It's a mile in circumference, so make sure you put on your walking shoes. While you're here, enjoy the beautiful weather. It's a little different than Ontario, Canada at this time of year, so I hope you're noticing that. And please be sure to watch the best of the future stars, and the NHL stars, I should say, right here today in Ontario, California. Thank you so much for being here today. Enjoy your time in Ontario.
We've definitely noticed the weather, so that's a great thing. Thank you, Michael. The playing captains are selected each year by the president for their leadership, skill set, and service. Let's once again welcome David Andrews to introduce this year's playing captains.
It is every year a special privilege to be able to select the playing captains for our All-Star Classic, and this year we have two exceptional captains for the Western and Eastern Conference, and it is actually a coincidence that both have very close ties to the state of California and to this region. First of all, I'd like to introduce the captain of our Western Conference. He is a native of Southern California. He is currently the captain of the Grand Rapids Griffins. He's in his 12th season playing in the American Hockey League. He's played 700 games as of, I think, last week. He's played his 700th game. His fourth season playing in Grand Rapids, and he is the captain of that team. He has over 200 goals. He has over 420 points. He was an NCAA champion in 2006 in Wisconsin, and he won the Calder Cup Championship in 2017 in Grand Rapids. Congratulations, and I'd ask Matthew Ford to join us. The captain of our Eastern Conference is representing the Hershey Bears, but by the sounds of the crowd last night, he was representing the Ontario Reign as well. He's a native of North York, Ontario, which is actually in Canada, not in California. He's a graduate of Cornell. He's in his 14th professional season. He played his 1,000th game this past weekend of professional hockey. 650 of those games were played in the National Hockey League with Los Angeles, the Islanders, Buffalo, and Minnesota. He had 3 seasons where he scored 30 goals or more in the National Hockey League. He played 2 seasons for the Ontario Reign. It's his first appearance in an American Hockey League All-Star game, and we're very proud to have with us Matt Molson.
In addition to the playing captains, the American Hockey League does a wonderful job recognizing their alumni and distinguished alumni at that with honorary captains. Both conferences represented by an honorary captain, not only recognizing their connection with the American Hockey League, but to local community. And this year, a pair of former LA Kings are being recognized. The honorary captain from the Western Conference is Robb Stauber.
A Hobie Baker Award winner at the University of Minnesota, Robb Stauber was drafted by the Los Angeles Kings in 1986 and spent 2 seasons in the AHL with New Haven. In 1993, Stauber helped the Kings reach the Stanley Cup Final, going 15-8-4 in 31 appearances that season and winning the final 3 games of their first-round victory over Calgary. Stauber later spent some time in the Buffalo Sabres organization, and with the Rochester Americans in 1995, he became just the 3rd goaltender in AHL history to score a goal. Stauber earned AHL All-Star recognitions with Portland in 1997 and with Hartford in 1998, when he won a career-best 20 games. Following his retirement, Stauber won both men's and women's NCAA championships as a goaltending coach and has been involved in various roles with USA Hockey, including winning a gold medal with the U.S. women's national team at the 2018 Olympics.
Well, first off, I'd like to thank the American Hockey League and Dave. Congratulations on your great career. It's quite spectacular. And to your staff, they did such a wonderful job for guys like myself that aren't used to following an itinerary anymore. Allison did a wonderful job communicating. I'm sure Derek could say the same, just being able to have that kind of communication that was seamless so we could get here and be thankful for this opportunity. I'm honored to be here, and I heard somebody talk about coincidences, and I'm kind of a guy that doesn't believe in them. I believe things come full circle for a reason. I had a chance to play in the All-Star game twice. It was quite spectacular. We had honorary captains. I specifically recall one of them was Jim Craig. I think most people remember him for the Miracle on Ice back in 1980. So it's a very special time. I'd also like to congratulate the inductees. I had a chance to review some of your bios, in fact all of them, and very impressive, well-deserving. So congratulations to the 4 of you. Hockey's to me, it's very sacred. It's a special game with special people. I have a sneaking feeling, having been around the game for a long time, it seems to attract the salt of the earth. The people that are involved are very special, and special friendships and relationships that are often a huge part of the game. And so for me, it is sacred. And not only is it a sacred game, as I mentioned just a minute ago, it's interesting how things come full circle. And for me, I'm going to give you a few examples of what that looks like to me. Robbie Ftorek today is being honored, and little does Robbie know that I was a 13-year-old boy talking with one of his strength coaches back in the early 80s, and his name was Jack Blatherwick. Jack Blatherwick was just inducted into the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame. And when I was 13, I called Jack, and I'd ask him about the Ranger players. I got to know Jack through my brother, and I'd say, tell me about the NHL. Tell me about what it takes to make it in the NHL. Tell me about the players. And little would Robbie know, but your name came up, along with Glenn Hanlon. He said, those 2 guys are the hardest workers. And for me, hearing that as a young man, a young boy aspiring to something more than just midget hockey, it was great to hear. And little do you know that one day you're going to be talking about him some 30-some years later. So that's an example of things coming full circle. Derek Armstrong, when I was called by Dave and learning about the process and whatnot, and learning that Army was one of the other honorary captains, I cannot tell you how much fun I had playing with him. I could sit here all day. And quite frankly, the things that I remember most are when the whistle blew and practice was over. That's hockey. It's what guys aspire to. It's what guys just maybe love the most. And quite frankly, the guys that are in back are going to realize that when the day's done. They will come to that conclusion. It's just an incredible experience. So to be able to be here with somebody that I played with, just another example of how things come full circle. One of the there's going to be two current players that are in this All-Star event. Joey Anderson. I feel like I have to bring up his name. Dave, when you called me and asked me how many have been told that you're not supposed to answer your cell phone when you get that number that you don't recognize for all the good reasons, you're going, I don't think I should take this because of what we're learning today. Don't take that call. And for some reason, Dave, I was sitting at breakfast with my parents only a half a mile from where I grew up. My parents are very old, very lucky they're still alive. And I looked down at that phone and I felt like I got to take this. I have no idea why. And I took that call and it was you, Dave. And as soon as I heard your name, and it was pretty loud in the restaurant, it's a little small place, I walked outside and then I got the logistics. And without hesitation, the answer is yes, absolutely. And the reason I bring up Joey's name is I grew up with his dad. Imagine that. From the time I was 7 years old to about 18, we were best friends. And here we are today, full circle, as sons in this event. But what's kind of unique about that is when I got the call, I was sitting at a restaurant, nothing more than a pitching wedge away from where his great-grandparents lived. Kind of an interesting story. And then there's Cal Peterson, who's in this event, who's been honored. Cal was a young boy traveling from Des Moines, Iowa, many, many times, I can't tell you how many times, traveling to Minneapolis, Minnesota to get goalie training in a training center that I happened to start after my playing days. And to see things like that happen right in front of my eyes, and I'm sure many share similar stories about how things come full circle. It's really, the game of hockey is really a small world. And lastly, Luc Robitaille. Dave, you mentioned Luc, and Luc was such a, and still is, obviously, an icon here in LA. And this might be where I tell something a little funny about Luc, but I'm sure more than once, because I'm pretty good at reading body language, had a bad warm-up with the LA Kings, and Luc's face turning about as white as that banner there, going, oh my God, I don't think that guy's got it tonight. And I read those body languages, but Luc was an unbelievable goal scorer and in the National Hockey League, and to see that come full circle and to see him here and what he's done in this city and what he's done for hockey is incredible. I would say lastly to the players that are here, as I said in the start, hockey's sacred. It's a team game. Teams win championships. Individuals don't. And I think that's one of the things that makes our game so special and so sacred, is that when players realize that, even though you're here today for individual skills and the things that you can bring to the game, I always say that I really believe this game is special. Personally, I'd love it to remain special. And that really falls on today's current players. In order to keep this game special, no one is bigger than the game. No one is bigger than a team. And in order to keep this game special, the players that are here, if you would always keep that in the front of your mind, this game will remain special and sacred. And I thank you for this chance to speak, Dave. And again, congratulations. Thank you.
That was wonderful, Rob. Thank you. If you appreciate full circle, the honorary captain for the Eastern Conference is also a former LA King. I think that's no surprise now. If you look at Matt Molson's first NHL goal, he's got an assist on it. So that's pretty good for full circle. Let's welcome in Derek Armstrong.
Drafted by the New York Islanders in 1992, Derek Armstrong spent much of the first half of his playing career in the American Hockey League before earning a full-time role in the NHL. After time in the Islanders and Senators organizations, Armstrong spent 4 seasons with the AHL's Hartford Wolfpack, where he was named Most Valuable Player of the Calder Cup playoffs in 2000 before winning the league scoring title and earning regular season MVP honors in 2001. Armstrong got his big break when he was acquired by the Los Angeles Kings in 2002. He went on to play nearly 400 NHL games in 6 seasons with the Kings, and later joined the team's front office as Director of Programming and Curriculum, where he continues to work to grow the game of hockey in Southern California.
My speech is a little different than Staubby's. It's chicken scratch, so. But first of all, I'd like to thank the AHL, Mr. Andrews. When I get the call like Staubby, it's an unnamed number. I didn't want to look at it as well, but when I got that call, I came around. AHL's been so good to me and given me so many great memories that I definitely accepted it. Thank you to the Ontario Reign, LA Kings, Luc Robitaille, Darren Abbott. They've hired me the last couple years. You know, as you guys go through your career, retirement sucks. I'll be honest with you. It sucks. So when they hired me to come back and give the game, I think I've worked with almost 4,000 kids throughout the world in the last 2.5 years. We're in Beijing, China now. We're going to Mexico City. So I get to really give back this beautiful sport that obviously Staubby talked about. It's been so good to me and so good to my family. And so I appreciate Luke and Darren for hiring me to be an ambassador to the LA Kings and this great game of hockey. Congratulations to the inductees. I haven't seen Denny Hamel since he two-handed me in a Calder Cup final, so I don't know if he's still mad at me or not, but congratulations, that's awesome. And congratulations to Robb Stauber, he's the best. Thank you for letting me score all those goals in practice that helped my career, so it's great. You got to stop one once in a while. It's great. And then, like we talked about full circle, Chris Taylor's here, he's one of the coaches. Congratulations to all the 4 coaches too. It's quite an honor. Me and Taylor's turned pro together, my first year in '93. We battled together in junior. We won a championship together our second year in the IHL, so it's pretty cool. Obviously, he doesn't eat burgers, and I eat burgers, so you can eat a burger once in a while, Tails, too. But good to see you, bud. So just kind of go through my career here, a couple of stories about the AHL, why it's been so amazing. So my first couple years I played in the IHL, which was the rival to the AHL, but it was a different league. It was a little bit older. I was kind of a scorer my whole entire life. I liked to score. I still love to score. Even an 8-year-old or 10-year-old, I'll score goals on them all day long. I still love to score. Doesn't bother me one bit. My kids are all bruised up. But as we go through in the IHL, it's a different league. It was more freewheeling, more free-spirited, so no one hit me, so it was great. I could score all day long. I played with Zygmunt Pelfy, runner-up for Rookie of the Year in the IHL. Radek Bonk, a Czech guy who was a pretty good hockey player, beat me out. Then all of a sudden I went to the Islanders, had a really good camp. I thought I was going to make the team, you know. All of a sudden I go with Mike Milburn. He's like, "You're going to Worcester." I'm like, "Is that the steak sauce?" I didn't have a clue where Worcester was. Knew nothing about the AHL. You know, I knew it was a great league. I knew a lot of people played in it. Obviously I wanted to play in the NHL my whole entire life. But once I got to the AHL, I went to this place called Worcester, Mass. It was pretty cool. I walk in. There's a guy named, one of my coaches was named Jimmy Roberts. He's an amazing man, old school guy. It looks like Popeye a little bit. He won, I think, 5 Stanley Cups with the Montreal Canadiens. God rest his soul, he's a great man. So I walk in, and there's Jimmy, my second day of camp. So unlike you guys, our practice rink, we had to drive to the practice rink in our cars, so we all had our gear on. Hockey players, you know, that were beeping horns at everyone on the car. We're driving, we're like a kamikaze race to the rink. We get to the rink. We get on the ice. We're skating around. There's this Swedish guy named by the name of Andreas Johansson. You know, good-looking Swedish guy, great build, everything. So we're on the ice. Jimmy's this old guy. He never wore hockey gloves. He wore mittens and Velcro skates, and he always wore a hat. And he was a mean guy, but great guy. Blows his whistle, goes, hard lap. And there's no Andreas Johansson. I'm like, what's going on here? Andreas Johansson's with the trainer on the bench. Jimmy blows the whistle. What's going on? I forgot my skates. He forgets his skates. We're doing hard laps. He stops again. He goes, what are you doing? Oh, I forgot my skates. Nope, you're going into practice. So I'm in the AHL, my second practice ever. We're going hard between the blue lines. We're skating. And Andreas Johansson's running on the ice. No skates, running on the ice, skating. And we're like, what? Doing that. So he blows the whistle again. So we're doing a tracking drill. We got to go down. You pass the puck to the forward, you go down the boards, and you get run over by the defenseman. So I'm with Terry Virtue. Still doesn't have his skates. They make him go first. He gets the puck, no skates on, runs down the ice, and Virch puts him into the bench. I'm like, man, this is a little bit different than the IHL I was playing in, and I never forgot my skates again. So as we go further on that year, like I said, hockey builds such character. It's an amazing sport. We go into St. John's, Newfoundland. Same guy, Jimmy Roberts. I was a scorer. I hated everything else but scoring, and that year I didn't play much. They made me a fourth liner. I was killing penalties. I had to block shots, which I wouldn't want to block Ferk's shot. 109 miles an hour, that hurt. So he taught me all these little details. He taught me how to take face-offs. I was miserable the whole year. I just wanted to score goals, but as I go through my career, obviously, it's amazing what I learned from him. But we're in St. John's, Newfoundland. If you guys ever been there? It's cold. It's cold. We get into the rink. We got some media watching us. We go on the ice, morning skate. They go, let's do the three-man weave. Okay, we do the three-man weave. Jimmy blows the whistle. Shh. There's no pucks on the ice. Three-man weave. We're like, there's no pucks. Do the three-man weave. So we got to go through the three-man weave, pretending to pass to each other on the ice. Everybody's watching. Goes down the ice. Jimmy goes, Army! I go, what? He goes, hit the net! There's not a puck on the ice. There's not a puck on the ice. Eric Fichot's our goalie. He's like, what's going on? He's starting that night. So we play with a guy named Freddie Knipscher. He comes down, takes a slap shot. Fichot goes down and falls down, hits his shoulder. There's still not a puck on the ice. He actually got hit in the shoulder. He healthy scratched Freddie for Knipscher last night for hitting the goalie in the shoulder. Didn't play that night. So it was unbelievable. But that was my first year in the AHL. I'm still wondering what kind of league I am. I only got 30 points in 80 games. I'm like, what just happened to my hockey career? So the next year I ended up playing with the Islanders, but as I went through my career, I learned so much from that man. I learned so much from my teammates. I learned the details of hockey. The AHL taught me about the grind of hockey, what it's like to be a professional, what it's like to be a pro, what it's like to show up every day and grind, and we finally get there. So after that, I ended up playing the Islanders, and then we went to probably my favorite 4 years of my whole entire life was playing for the Hartford Wolfpack. A, I got to score again, which was the best part, and B, we had so many amazing teammates. I'll talk about one guy in particular who's been my best friend since 14 years old, Brad Smith. He was nominated last year. We call him Chicken Hawk. They know him as Chicken Hawk. They know him as Shooter. Besides Luc Robitaille, he's probably the best goal scorer I ever played with. Luc, and I'm not sucking up to you. He could combine, but Brad Smith. So we're in the game. There's a guy named Dan Guinaud. He's a French-Canadian. Really good hockey player. Skate, could shoot. I think his first 13 NHL games, he scored 8 goals. First rookie to ever do that. He gets sent down, and this guy, Brad Smith, his sticks are like this high. He's 5'10", his sticks are this high. He tapes them 5 times up and down. He loves his sticks. So he goes out for warm-up, breaks a stick in warm-up, puts it on the bench. Dan Guinaud goes and grabs a stick and gives it to a little kid. Pretty good gesture, I'd imagine. Comes to the dressing room, and Brad Smith goes, Guinaud, what are you doing? Because I was just giving my stick to a kid. He goes, don't ever touch my beeping sticks again. We're like, what the heck? So we play that game. So the next game we go for warm-up. I like to be last all the time, and me and Brad Smith fight like brothers and sisters all the time. So we're chirping back and forth. I'm like, Shooter, I'm going last. Like, I'm going last. He's like, I'm going last. I'm like, you're not going last. So we're fighting before the game. So I finally let him go last. The warm-up was 20 minutes, so about 11 minutes into the warm-up, we still don't know where he is. And I'm like, where is he? So he finally comes out. He has a dozen of Dan Guinaud's hockey sticks, brand new ones, and he's handing them out to all the fans in the stands. He's like, never touch my sticks again. So obviously, I just want to tell a couple stories about my career and the way this beautiful place is. The young guys out there, play as long as you can. I would still play hockey if I didn't get out of shape and had concussions. It's an amazing league. It taught me how to be such a true professional. Taught me the friendships, Staubby, Tails. Like you said, everything comes full round. Matty Molson, I still see that smile on your face when I set you up in the Islanders. I thought you'd never score, but you did, so it was awesome. Good to see you as well. But it's truly amazing what this sport does for families. You know, I met my beautiful wife. I've been married 22 years. I met her in the minors. Have 2 beautiful kids that I got out of the game of hockey. So we still love this game. Like you said, it's a sacred game. Don't ever take it for granted, and put on a great show tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Have to commission them to the broadcast booth. Maybe third period or something. That'd be great. It is now time to recognize the 4 new members of the American Hockey League Hall of Fame, and it's my pleasure to bring back up David Andrews.
Before we get down to business, Army, that was really entertaining. It wasn't so good to find out that retirement sucks. It's a little too late to turn back. In 2005-2006, in recognition of our 70th anniversary season of the American Hockey League, we created a Hall of Fame to honor hockey legends whose AHL careers were the stuff that history is made of. That first class included Johnny Bower, Jack Butterfield, Eddie Shore, Jody Gage, Willie Marshall, Fred Glover, and the legendary Frank Mathers. Johnny Bower, Jack Butterfield, Eddie Shore, and Frank are all enshrined in the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto as well. The list of honored members of the AHL Hall of Fame includes some of hockey's greatest stars and builders, many of whom have had careers that led them to fantastic National Hockey League careers as well, but perhaps weren't at the point where they could get into the Hockey Hall of Fame. So we're very proud of that, and I'd like to direct your attention to the video screens.
For more than 80 years, the American Hockey League has been home to many of the greatest players, coaches, and builders our sport has seen. Today, we honor some of the very best, the AHL Hall of Fame class of 2020. Denny Amell was one of the American Hockey League's most prolific goal scorers over his 12 years on the circuit. The native of Lachute, Quebec, broke into the pro ranks with the Rochester Americans in 1998 and helped the club reach back-to-back Calder Cup finals.
Denny, congratulations on being inducted into the American Hockey League Hall of Fame. Very well deserved. First of all, it was a pleasure being your GM and seeing you grow as not only as a player, but as a person and going on and playing a great career, especially seeing you go on to the NHL. Maybe not so much in Binghamton, but still respected you as a player. Once again, congratulations, well deserved.
Amell led the Amerks with 34 goals during the 99-2000 season, while also making the first of his 3 AHL All-Star Classic appearances. Amell also played 130 games with the Buffalo Sabres in the NHL before signing with Ottawa in 2003. And his 3 years spent with the AHL's Binghamton Senators included a 91-point campaign in 2005-2006, when he also captured the Willie Marshall Award for leading the league with 56 goals.
Hey Denny, I just want to congratulate you on an incredible honor. The American League Hall of Fame is something pretty special, and you were a great veteran to me coming into the league. I still remember how well you shot the puck and how you get the crowd going. One of the best players in the power play that I played with, and it's quite an honor. So enjoy with your family, and good luck to you.
NHL stints with Atlanta and Philadelphia followed before he returned to Binghamton in 2007. In his first season back, Amell was selected to captain the Canadian team at the AHL All-Star Classic, hosted by the Senators. He went on to receive the Yannick Dupré Memorial Award as the AHL Man of the Year for his outstanding work in the Binghamton community.
Just wanted to congratulate you on your induction into the American Hockey League Hall of Fame. what a career you had. 850 games in the American Hockey League, a 3-time All-Star, and you were always such a dangerous scorer on the ice. This is such a great honor for you. You handled yourself with class on and off the ice and continually look to improve your game.
Amell completed his AHL tour with the Adirondack Phantoms, leading the team in goals in both 2011 and 2012. Amell ranks 11th in AHL history with 338 goals, topping the 20-goal mark in each of his last 10 seasons in the league, and totaled 651 points in 850 games.
Denis, félicitations. Congratulations on your induction into the AHL Hall of Fame. Listen, I hated playing against you when you were in Chicoutimi because you used to always score on me and you had the big slap shots. So when we found ourselves playing together in Rochester, I was like, this is great, playing with a guy I hate playing against, but I should have known that what you did in games, you would do in practice. So the big slap shot, that big heel curve you used to have, you tried to score every day. It used to be cold in the old practice rink in Rochester, and you would come in and shoot 95, 100 miles an hour in practice, bar down all the time. So I hated playing with you. I hated playing against you. No, I love playing with you, Denny. You were a great competitor. You did whatever it took to win. You scored a ton of goals, and you were a great teammate. So again, congratulations on your induction to the AHL All of Fame.
I'd like to call on Tom Mitchell, the chairman of the AHL Hall of Fame Selection Committee, to present Denny Hamel with his AHL Crystal Award. Denny?
Hi everybody. I don't know if I'll be good like the two honorary captain. They did a good speech. Right away I start with it. All right, before I start, I got a little story. Last week I received a text message from my coach from Pee Wee. He told me to congratulate me on the Hall of Fame, and yeah, I deserve it because I work hard and all that. And in a big letter he wrote, enjoy every moment of that. And that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna stick here the long as I can, but not too long. And thanks the most, I would like to thank everybody first of all, but I know I'm gonna miss some. So it's an honor to be here. I want to thank Dave and Drew and all the AHL organization to introduce me on the Hall of Fame. It's something special for me and my family. So I want to congratulate the inducted, the nominate with me. I'm really proud to be here with you guys. If you look back, a young guy like me from Lachute, nobody expect me. I was working on a horse farm with my dad, and nobody was expecting me to be a hockey player. And life turned around. I did play hockey 12 years in this league, and I'm proud of it. It's a great league. I started in '97 with the Rochester Americans. Didn't have a chance to play with the Hall of Famer Jody Gage. He retired a few years before I came in. I don't know if he was too old or he didn't want to play with me. But he was still around in Rochester. He helped me a lot. Not always about the hockey, but the person I want to be. So he helped me do the little thing on the ice. First of all, helped me with my language, because my first year when I came in, I remember I saw Scotty Nichols early today, and Scotty was my teammate at the time, and he said, remember the first year you came in? I'm like, yeah, a little bit. I ask you what's your name, and you always answer yes, 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 yes. So I didn't know English that well, so I learned. I had some great teammates. It's like I say, Jody helped me with everything you have to learn about the game. I think he did good because I'm staying here today. So I want to thank Judy. Thank you so much. For my teammates in Rochester, 2 years in the final, didn't win. I know I saw Derek now won the cups against us, but it was a good run. We make a lot of friends, teammate along. Like I saw Chris Taylor yesterday. I play with Chris in Rochester. So it's I want to thank some friends like Marty Biron, Jean-Luc Grandpierre, JP Dumont, who I play with. They helped me with to go on with learn more English first of all, and to play the game the best I can. And I want to thank the fan in Rochester. I know the year we won the final, the building was in renovation, so it was tough to get around, but the fans show up every night, cheer on the team, so it was great to play there and a great city to play. A few years after, I ended up in Binghamton, where I call Binghamton pretty much my home now, when after played six years there. I had a chance to meet Tom Mitchell and the owner, Tim, Tom, and Bob. They've been welcoming me the first day I got there. It's tough sometimes to switch team, but when you meet the owner like that, it's more easy to go on. So I want to thank Tom and the owner in Binghamton. I would like to thank Steve Martin, also one of my centermen at the time in 2006. Without him, I don't think I will be able to score 56 goal. So I know I lost touch with Steve a little bit, but I'm sure he'll heard what I have to say. I want to thank him so much, because after that season, I had the chance to go back in the NHL for a year in Ottawa. So I want to thank Steve for that. And hockey, it's one thing, but I'm a big believer of what you do outside the rink. Yesterday, I saw the young guys sign autograph after for 15 minutes. That 15 minutes makes so much smile on the people's face you don't even know. In Binghamton, I went to see some young kids. They could not play hockey, but just to meet me and to have a chance to talk, the smile after you see the young guys, it's big for me. So hockey is one thing, but make sure you do something for the community. The fan, always a fan. If you didn't have fun, we didn't have hockey. So the fans is a big thing. I see like Ontario, they get some great fans. I saw that yesterday. It's too bad I'm not still good enough to play, because I'll be a good place with the weather also. So, but and in Binghamton, I had a chance to meet John Paddock, one of my coach. He was awesome with me. He made me take everything I had to play good every night, night after night. I had a lot of respect for John. And even when I was done in Binghamton, I thought I was retired, but I had a phone call late November. And it was John Paddock called me, go like, Denny, I think you still got some life in your legs left for a couple of years. I'm like, sure, why not? So it's like he brought me to Adirondack, Glen Falls. Beautiful place to finish my career. I got some great honor in Glen Falls. I met them today, Tim and Rob Brooks. So it was great to see them. And again, I had a chance to make a lot of friends there too. Mike Leighton, one of my goalie, played, 8 years against him. Didn't like me, like Marty Biron said, but I don't know why. Pretty much all the goalie don't like me. So, but I had a chance to meet him. He was one of my roommate on the road. So, and the trainer Damien was keeping up with me on and off the ice. So I want to thank them. Truly, it's amazing league here. 12 years go by so fast, because you love the game, you love where you play, and I was lucky enough to play in those many games, so I'm really proud to play in that league. I could stand there here because today, if it were not for my parents, they didn't make the trip. Gilbert and Lena, they make, it's after you get kids, you understand the parents, how much they give you when you're young. Drive you around, rink to rink, Wednesday night, Saturday morning. So they drove me everywhere to play the game I love, so I respect that, and I want to thank them to do that. To my sister, my brother-in-law, Benoit Thurier, today, to celebrate the good time with me and celebrate this. So I want to thank you. Finally, to my wife and kids, Ty and Ashton, they're at home right now, didn't make the trip. Ty is only 3 years old, not Ty, Ashton's only 3. Didn't see me play hockey, but I show him like video and all that. They see. He's really interesting at hockey, so when we go in the basement, we're playing, but he's always dropping the glove, and put himself in a penalty box. So I'm like, I didn't teach you that, but that's something I will have to work on it, but it's special to see, like, so I don't know where he learned that. And my oldest one, Ty, he didn't see me that much play hockey, but he knew I was a player. The only thing I'm cool for him, it's because I was Eric Carlson, the first captain, and when he came playing in bingo. So maybe it's why my son's got the long hairs playing defense, nothing like. So I want to tell those two I love them, and I will see you soon. So, and to my wife, Julie, she's been around, she's been there when it was up and down. You know, in hockey, that's not always perfect, so she was there, helped me. And the most she helped me, it's the transition after hockey and the real life. It's tough, but she's been there. She took all the positive thing. She make things go more smoothly than you just retire. It's tough when one day you wake up, you don't have to practice, and the next day you have to go work. So it's different. But she was there for me, and I want to thank Sam. I love you so much. Thank you. And I wanted to finish. I want to thank Dave and Drew again. Keep him around for so many years. The AHL, Allison, who did a great job. The scheduling is perfect. Been a month and a half. We've been talking on the phone, texting, so I want to thank you for that. All the fans in the league, if it was not for you, we'll have no hockey, so keep on going to rink, cheer your team. And yesterday, the skill competition, it's too bad I cannot shoot again because 108, it's pretty fast, but I'm sure I can do maybe 90 still, so. But it was great last night, kid. The players was a good show. Cannot wait to see the show, the game tonight. And I want to say again, thank you so much. I will take this honor and it's going to be in my mind for the rest of my life. Thank you so much. Good luck.
Fred Thurier was one of the first bona fide stars in the fledgling days of the American Hockey League. His pro debut came with the Springfield Indians in 1937, and in 2 years, he later was the club's leading scorer with 60 points in 54 games. Thurier was named a first-team AHL All-Star in 1940-41, and he split the next season between Springfield and the NHL's Brooklyn Americans.
Freddie Thurier was one of the elite players in the American Hockey League back in the early days. And it just, I mean, to watch him play, the things he could do, the way he could do it was just awesome.
Thurier missed parts of the next 2 seasons while enlisted in the Canadian Army during World War II, but quickly returned to dominance with the Buffalo Bisons. He scored 33 goals and totaled 73 points in only 39 games during the regular season and added 18 points in 9 playoff contests as the Bisons rolled to the 1944 Calder Cup championship. After skating for the New York Rangers in the NHL in 1944-45, Thurier finished his career with the AHL's Cleveland Barons. He helped the Barons to a Calder Cup in 1948 after scoring a personal best 36 goals, and in the following years continued to climb the AHL's career leaderboard.
As one of Cleveland's first and brightest hockey stars, Fred Thurier helped establish pro hockey in the city and set a standard of excellence for all the Cleveland players that followed in the years to come. On behalf of the Cleveland Monsters, congratulations to Fred's family upon his well-deserved induction to the AHL Hall of Fame.
On the final day of the 1950-51 season, Thurier notched both his 300th career goal and his 700th career point, becoming the first AHL player ever to reach either of those plateaus. A month later, Thurier and the Barons were Calder Cup champions again. Freddie the Fox retired in 1952 with more points in professional hockey than any other player to date, including 319 goals, 425 assists, and 744 points in 642 AHL games.
There is really no better feeling than to have the honor of recognizing players who competed in the American Hockey League at the time that the NHL was a 6-team league. If you think about how good the players were in the American Hockey League in those days when there were only 120 jobs in the NHL, it's just remarkable. I'd like to ask Jock Callender to join us. There are 3 legendary players from Cleveland. One of them is Johnny Bauer, the other one is Jock Callender, and the other is Fred Thurier. And I'd ask Greg to come up and accept on behalf of his father.
Good afternoon, and thank you to the American Hockey League for this wonderful event. It's a real honor. My father, Alfred Michael Thurier, was born January 16, 1916 in Granby, Quebec. As a child, he learned to skate on the ice ponds of Quebec. He attended Mount St. Charles Academy in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, and was inducted in their Hall of Fame in 2013. In the 34-35 season, his record of 50 goals still stand and is a school record to date. During World War II, he served as a translator for the Canadian Forces. His professional career was spent playing for the Springfield Indians, the Buffalo Bisons, the New York Rangers, and finally the Cleveland Barons. He retired before I was born in 1952. By that time, he scored more points than any hockey player to date. After retirement, he served as a Barons lineman from 53 to 62. One of my favorite memories was when I was about 10 years old. I asked my dad why the team took so many breaks. He said, "Son, they're tired and they're thirsty." He later took me to the locker room on one of those breaks, and I saw the team sitting on folding chairs around a pail of long neck Strohs. I grabbed a bottle opener to help out, but my dad said, "Son, we don't have all night." So he showed me how to pop off tops off bottles. From then on, that was my job. I must say it served me well. My dad passed away in 1999 in Vero Beach, Florida. He played tennis every day, always talked about his hockey career. I surely miss him. He was a true character. In closing, I wish to thank the American Hockey League again for this tribute and honor you have given our family. Thank you very much. I'll remember this the rest of my life. Thank you.
Decorated, record-setting forward Darren Haydar was a dominant performer over his 11 seasons in the American Hockey League. The native of Milton, Ontario, made an immediate splash when he joined the Milwaukee Admirals in 2002. posting 75 points in 75 games and earning the Dudley Red Garrett Memorial Award as the AHL's Outstanding Rookie.
Hey buddy, congrats for your induction to AHL Hall of Fame. What a great honor, well deserved. I just remember my first year in Milwaukee, 05, 06. Together, it was probably the most fun I've had playing professional hockey. It was such an experience going all the way to the finals.
The next year, Haydar followed a 59-point regular season by tallying 11 goals and 26 points in 22 postseason contests as Milwaukee captured the franchise's first Calder Cup championship. Haydar helped the Admirals back to the Calder Cup finals in 2006, potting 92 points in the regular season and 35 more in the playoffs.
Hey Thurier, I just want to congratulate you on an amazing career and such a well-deserved honor. It was an honor for me to play with you those first few years, kind of breaking into professional hockey together. You're a great teammate and a great friend. Glad I got the chance to be a part of it.
He then signed with the Atlanta Thrashers that offseason, setting the stage for one of the most memorable campaigns in AHL history. Now with the Chicago Wolves, Haydar recorded a point in 39 consecutive games to begin the 2006-2007 season, averaging better than 2 points a game during the longest scoring streak in AHL history. He went on to win the scoring title with 122 points and earned league MVP honors before finishing first in the AHL's playoff scoring for the third time in the last 4 postseasons.
Darren, congratulations on your induction into the AHL Hall of Fame. It was a privilege and an honor to have you as a teammate and as a friend. I could not think of a better person to learn from how to be a pro, both on and off the ice. So congrats again on a well-deserved honor and an amazing career. Congrats, bud.
In 2007-2008, Haydar wore the captaincy for the Wolves and led them to a Calder Cup championship, on the way to becoming the AHL's all-time leader in postseason goals and points. He spent 1 season with the Grand Rapids Griffins and 1 with the Lake Erie Monsters before returning to Chicago for his final 3 years in the league. The leading career scorer for both the Admirals and the Wolves AHL franchises, Haydar totaled 788 points in his 780 regular season AHL games, ranking 14th all-time in scoring.
Darren, when we started with you 21 years ago now, we were looking for good people in an organization that could grow. And you were actually one of the best people that we've ever had in our organization. Not only were you a great player, but equally, if not more important, you're a great person. You showed the way to all of our younger players in terms of what it was going to take to be a good pro, how you conducted yourself, how you performed on a daily basis. And what you brought to our organization, what you gave to the game of hockey was fantastic.
I have had the good fortune over the years as president of the league to spend a lot of time with Darren, actually, with All-Star games, Calder Cup championships, the odd disciplinary review. Pretty competitive guy. He scored a lot of goals, but he also every once in a while crossed the line. But the last time I saw Darren was at the Spangler Cup in Davos a few years ago when he was playing in Europe, and it's a thrill to have him and his young family here, and really excited for Darren to become a member of our Hall of Fame. Is so much deserved. And I'd like to ask Wendell Young, Stanley Cup champion, Calder Cup champion, Memorial Cup champion, and general manager of the Chicago Wolves, to join us and present Darren with his award. Wendell?
I better lower this. Wow. First of all, I'd like to thank Dave Andrews, the AHL, Allison, for putting on a spectacular weekend. The other inductees, congratulations to you guys. I'm truly honored and humbled to be going in with you. This is such a special event for myself and my family, to have my kids here with us today, my wife, my parents, my brother John and Heidi, one of my closest friends, Neil, who lives close by, and my parents. Truly, I don't know how to thank you, to give back to you guys for what you guys have sacrificed over the years. Like Denny said, our parents, they're the backbone and the reason why we're able to make it to this level is because of all the sacrifice that they did, driving us to rinks in early mornings and such. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that. There's two major areas I want to touch on today, but I would be remiss if I didn't thank, I guess, the Milwaukee Admirals, Chicago Wolves, Lake Erie Monsters, and Grand Rapids Griffins for allowing me to play on your teams and in this great league, the American Hockey League. So I want to thank you for that. The fans, thank you very much for all supporting me. I'll get into some of this a little bit later, but supporting Sarah and myself through everything that we've been through over the course of my career, and a lot of that was during my time playing in the American Hockey League. So I'll touch on that in a second. I just want to say a few thank yous to everyone before I do that. Thank you to all the PR staff for all the teams I played for the equipment managers, the athletic trainers, everybody from game day staff for being so courteous and helpful with myself and my family. I really want to thank you for that. Thank you to everybody who spoke in that video. It's touching. I've got a lot of emotions right now running through my body that I just can't describe. So to be able to have Pekka and Dan Hamuse and Mr. Poyle speak highly of me like that is, we play the game of hockey to be on a team and to hoist the trophy at the end of the day and to be the last team standing at the end of the year. It's really an odd feeling to be standing up here receiving this type of recognition, so I'm very humbled by this. The two areas I do really want to touch on, and I think John Anderson touched on it a little bit last year, was number one, in 2008 when Sarah was diagnosed with throat cancer, the Chicago Wolves were behind us all the way. Buddy Myers and Don Levin, I can't thank you guys enough for everything you did for Sarah and myself. They dedicated the game puck after we won the Calder Cup to Sarah. She now lives with a tracheostomy, and it was definitely a special time and a tragic time in our lives with everything that she was going through. And then again, when I was back with the Chicago Wolves in 2011, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. The Wolves were behind me all the way in that, and again, it was a time in my life where I was served basically a lifetime penalty, and to be able to battle through that and play a few more years was very special to me. I guess in closing, to the players in the back, you remember that I learned this from a coach I played with in Milwaukee, Todd Richards. You remember the players you win with and not so much the players that you lose with. And it's something that's stuck with me my entire career. And in business with our family, I still try and hold on to that. It's, I could name you almost every player that we won with, and that's something special. And to Wendell, Gene, Bill Bentley, Kevin Kaser, Kogut, during the times that were very tough for us in Chicago, Mike Nardella, the entire Wolves, Courtney Mahoney, I appreciate everything you guys did for our family. I am forgetting something I wanted to say. Oh, Wendell, yes, you are still the best coaches that we've ever coached between when we played in Chicago and won the Cup. So I appreciate that. Thank you. And to my family, Sarah, the kids, I know they're busy right now. If you see 3 kids run around the hotel, don't worry, they're not lost. They are our kids. They are very vibrant and energetic. And Mr. Andrews, they tend to go a little over the line occasionally too. So I've been saying that it's taken after my wife, but I think you just sold me out here, and now that they know that it might be a little bit after me. But thank you, congratulations to everyone. Players, good luck in your careers. Good luck this evening. Looking forward to watching you guys tonight. Thank you very much.
A veteran of nearly 5 decades in hockey as a player and coach, Robbie Ftorek successfully combined player development with winning during an impressive tenure behind American Hockey League benches. Ftorek turned pro with the AHL's Virginia Wings in 1972, just months after winning a silver medal with the United States Olympic team in Sapporo, Japan, and would play 13 pro seasons before signing on to serve as head coach of the New Haven Nighthawks in 1985.
A big congrats, Robbie, on getting inducted into the AHL Hall of Fame. Well deserved. It couldn't happen to a better coach, but even a better person. You were one of the most positive coaches I had in my professional career. I learned so much from you, not just on the ice, but off the ice as well, and I want to thank you for that. We have a championship together, and it's because of you. We had a good team, but you made us a great team. You always knew a way to get players to play their best game in and game out without even having an assistant coach, doing it all by yourself. Amazing.
Ftorek led New Haven to a pair of playoff appearances and was in first place when he was promoted to head coach of the Los Angeles Kings during the 1987-88 season. After 2 seasons in LA, Ftorek was named head coach of the Halifax Citadels and earned another promotion to the NHL when he was elevated to an assistant's role with the Quebec Nordiques. Ftorek joined the New Jersey Devils organization in 1991 and enjoyed his greatest AHL success. He won back-to-back Louis A.R. Pieri Awards as the league's outstanding coach, first in 1995 as he led the Albany River Rats to a Calder Cup championship. Then in 1996, on the strength of a 54-win, 115-point regular season, one of the best campaigns in league history, Ftorek's time guiding the Devils' top prospects helped propel players like Martin Brodeur, Bill Guerin, Steve Sullivan, and Scott Pellerin to lengthy NHL careers.
Congratulations on being inducted into the American Hockey League Hall of Fame. It's well deserved. Robbie, you've always brought a tremendous amount of passion, energy, and dedication to the game of hockey, as a player and as a coach. And in the American Hockey League, you helped out so many young players make it to the next level, including me. So I want to say thank you and congratulations.
After stints in New Jersey and Boston, Ftorek returned to the AHL and coached Albany again from 2003 to 2006. He currently ranks 11th all-time with 354 wins as an AHL head coach and remains the only bench boss in the last 30 years to win AHL Coach of the Year twice.
Robbie, I've had the pleasure of watching you play junior hockey when I was playing college hockey in Halifax, and watching you turn into a pro player and a terrific player. And then as I moved into the American League, you won the first Calder Cup of my career with Albany. And it's a great pleasure to invite a first ballot American Hockey League Hall of Famer, Brian Helmer, who played on the 1995 Calder Cup team, to present Robbie Ftorek with his AHL Hall of Fame Induction Crystal Award. Brian?
Hello. I'd like to thank a few people. I'd like to thank my mom and my dad. My wife is right. like to thank my brother and sister. My sister who taught me how to score when she was 3. I'd like to thank my kids and their families. And I'd like to thank my wife. And I'll go back there. I'd like to thank Dave. And I'm sorry to hear that you're leaving. You've done a great job. You got a great staff. And you'll be sorely missed. Allison, I said the day that you run this place, and on days like this you do, you did a great job with everybody, obviously, because you've been thanked by everybody. But we sure do appreciate what you've done for us in getting us here. I'd like to try to tell you a little bit about how I got here. And it starts January 1st, 1952. My mom and dad, my dad didn't have any money. I don't know how this ever happened. He was at the Bruins game. Guy from Ohio, played street hockey with a can and a stick that came off of a tree. We're at the Bruins game. And in the third period, my mom left the game. My dad's driving her home, and Mom says, maybe you should go to the hospital. So they went to the hospital, and my mom delivered a young kid, which was me. So I went from the Bruins to being born. Brand new New Year's baby. Picture in the paper, the whole 9 yards, you know. So that's how it started. I had hockey in my brain and my genes. And it's kind of an interesting way to start. So my dad was a carpenter, and he was working on a rink in Needham, Massachusetts, putting in dressing rooms and bleachers. And he'd pick me up in kindergarten, and he'd take me to the rink, and he had taught me how to skate, even though he learned to skate with me because he didn't know how to skate. And this one day we went there, and I was able to skate whenever we wanted to because he was working. And there was a lady on the ice, a coach, and she was coaching her daughter, who was a figure skater. Her name was Maribel Vincent Owens. And if she hadn't been at that rink, I would never be standing here. She saw me. She asked my dad if I skated, and he said yes. And she says, well, get on here. So I skated with her for 3 years. And I learned discipline, because in those days, you had to do figures, figure 3, and you had to do that figure 3 over and over and over and over until you could do it 8 times and keep those blade edges on the exact same plane to make it look as neat as possible, and then you get scored on it. I didn't know it at the time, but that's what I was doing. Figure 8s, figure 3s. Anyhow, she taught me that. She taught me edges, which there are 3, inside, outside, and the flat edge. She taught me balance. But the most important thing she taught me was leverage. So when this is, well, I can't tell you when it was, but it was a long time ago. And so she taught me these things, and then in 1960, they were coming back from a competition in Switzerland. And unfortunately, their plane crashed with the ski team from the United States and perished. So I went from being a figure skater to now becoming a hockey player. So my dad passed recently, 2 years ago, I think. And at the funeral, I was talking with my wife and a couple of my buddies. One of the first people came in, and I was tapped on the shoulder, and I turned around, and there's this guy. Do I remember that your mom left the Bruins game in the third period and you were born? And I turned around and I said, Billy Clary. I gave him that big hug. He gave me that big, big hug. He was a 1960 Olympic gold medalist in hockey. Boston Garden had 13,909 seats. What are the chances, Stauber, you talk about coming around? What are the chances that Billy Clary was sitting in front of my dad and my mom at the Boston Garden? And he remembered that. So Billy and my dad had the aisle seat. Billy had the aisle seat. And my brother and I used to tell my mom on Saturday nights that she looked terrible. God, Mom, you look sick. I don't think you're going to make it tonight to that game. Because if she didn't go, then Stevie and I got to go. So I used to go underneath my dad's jacket and go through the turnstile. Stevie had his ticket, and we'd go to the games and we'd watch. And Billy would lean back, and I'd lean forward, and he would say, okay, tonight we're going to look at Davy Keon or one of the players, or my idol, Fleming McKell. So this night, so we're there at the game, and he's talking, and we're going over things, and boom, as soon as the period ends, I run down, and I go and watch the Bruins coming off the ice. Because, they walk off of the ice on the tile, and they had to go a long way because there was no dressing rooms at the Bruins, at the Garden when it was built. And so I'm saying, nice, Mr. Mones, great assist. Mr. Boyven, great hip check. And Fleming McKell comes by, and I says, nice goal and 3 assists, Mr. McKell. Mr. McKell walks 2 steps, looks at my dad and says, can I take him in? And my dad said, what? Can I take him in? He said, sure. Boom, follow him. So I go down to the dressing room. He takes me in, he gives me my stick, he gets a pen, he introduces me to all the Bruins, Don Simmons, Johnny Busick was there as a rookie, all these guys. And he has them sign, he shakes my hand. He cuts another stick down, puts his knob on it, gives me a puck, gives me a kick in the butt, and says, good luck. So this was right at the time that Maribel Vincent Owen had passed, or close to it. And so now, in comes hockey to my life. So I go up to see my dad, and he's standing against the wall with 2 guys. And so I look at him, and I said, walk over, and I said, nice stick, this, that. I explained to him what happened, and my dad says, well, this is Stan Mikita. I shook his hand, and he says, this is, and I put my hand out, and the guy puts his hand, and he's shaking my hand from my elbow down to my hand. It was Bobby Hull. He had the mitts of a gorilla. My dad was Slavic, and Mikita was Czech, and my dad must have said something to him in Slavic, and so they were talking. So now they signed my small stick that they had cut down, and my day is like huge, full. So I run back to the rink. I run back to my seat, and we talk with Billy Clary, and he's telling me what we had talked about in the game and explain it to me. Much like I heard yesterday that Colby did with his daughter. Explaining the game from one of the great players of the United States. Learning how to play the game, the ins and outs of the game. Being coached early on by a great player. I wasn't very good in school, but I absorbed hockey pretty well. So anyhow, this is how it all came about, but not only from these people, but people from other sports or from other places in life. I always think, why do things happen? Why does this happen today? Why did that happen? Why did I meet this guy? So in that, in saying that, I just think that some of these people that I'm going to mention, like Ray Hopkins, a baseball coach, Don Brock, a soccer coach, John Chambers, a hockey coach, who taught me off the ice, on the ice, how to do things in the right way. That the team, as was said earlier, is more important than the individual. On our Calder Cup ring, do you remember what it says on? Helms, what does it say on that ring? Big we, little me. So I asked the players, I said, you mind if I put that on there? And they says, if you don't put it on there, we won't accept the rings. It's a great lesson for you guys in the back there to learn. It's about the team. Yes, you get individual acknowledgement sometime, and when you get them, they're probably deserved. But remember that they all came through your team. They all came through the people that got you to where you are. All those people that taught me how to skate as a figure skater, taught me how to play as a player, Billy and others, they're the ones that are really responsible for us, the guys who are come in today with me, for our honorary captains and people. They realize that it's not the me, but it's the we. So I'm going to go from there to ask a couple of questions, because as anybody who's ever coached for me knows that I'm a question and answer guy. And so whenever a guy comes into my office for the first time, I tell him, I want you to know something. I want you to know that I believe that there's no right way to play the game of hockey and there's no wrong way to play the game of hockey. There's just the way that your coach wants you to play the game of hockey. And if you could play Pee Wee hockey and Bantam hockey and junior hockey and American League hockey or play in the NHL, then you know how to conform to the way the coach wants you to play. Well, this is how we're going to play. And I go on to tell them how to play the game. And I firmly believe that. There's so many different ways that you can play the game. The coach's job is to get all of those guys to come together like this. And if we can do that, then we'll probably have some successes. But if we can't, then you probably won't be employed for very long. So I also ask my players, what's the most important thing in the game of hockey? What do I believe is the most important thing in the game of hockey? Helms, what do you remember? Do you remember what the most important thing is in the game of hockey to me? What? Friendship. Well, I believe that the game of hockey is very simple, and I try to make it as simple as possible. So for me, the most important thing in the game of hockey is the puck. Any of you guys out there want to take a guess at why I believe that? Anybody? Well, I believe the puck is the most important thing in the game of hockey because it dictates whether you play offensively or defensively. And that makes it pretty simple. Yes, you have to score goals, but if you let goals in, you're not going to win. And then you don't get to the cup. And hockey is a game of depending and relying upon one another. And if I can depend upon you to do what you're supposed to do, and you can depend upon me to do what I'm supposed to do, then we can trust one another. And once we get to a trusting area, then the game becomes more loving, and championship teams love one another. As was just said, you remember your people that you win with way more than you remember the people that you lose with. Anyhow, I'm here because I had a great team, a great group of players in Albany. And I was in Albany because of a gentleman that wanted me to play for him at Providence College. I told you I didn't have the marks, but I could play some hockey. Lou Lamoriello gave me that opportunity. Lou Lamoriello knew what I needed, or what our team needed to win. And he brought in a couple of players at a different time, just before the playoffs. And we went on to win quite a few games. So I want to thank Lou Lamoriello for giving me an opportunity to be in his organization for about 15 years at different times. He fired me, he brought me back, which was very nice of him. So it was a great journey. But that team in Albany was pretty amazing. They knew how to play the game. They knew how to win. They knew how to defend. We played about 2 weeks of hockey, and Lou would call me and say, "Do you need any players?" I said, "I don't think so." He says, "Robbie, you're playing with 16 players." I says, "Yeah, but they're the right 16 players." With those 16 players, they learned how to play the game of hockey. They learned how to play the clock. They learned how to play the score. They knew not to take chances. They knew not to take penalties, because then they would have to kill penalties. All the players on that team but one got a chance to go to play at an NHL training camp the following year. That's the coach's job. The responsibility as a minor league coach is to teach and to prepare them for that. But they have to want to do the work. They're the ones who do the work. They were a great group of players, and they did some great things. So to get that job, or to get my first job in hockey, Craig Patrick, who I played with in the Canada Cup in '76, I think, was my New York Ranger general manager. I was still playing in '85, maybe, and he had fired the coach, and he took over, and he asked me to go on the bench when I got injured and help him. I said, I can't if I have to do anything with the players as far as who's playing. He said, you don't have to do that. Just you run the D, I'll run the forwards, and you run the practices when I can't be there. I said, I'm on, I'm in. So I did that, and at the end of the season, he said, I want you to coach the New Haven Nighthawks. I said, okay. He says, but you've got to go to see Rogie and Pat Quinn to get the job. I said, okay, I can go there and do that. So I went, and they asked me a question. Rogie asked me a few questions, and the one question that he asked was, he said, what are you going to do when you lose 10 games in a row? What's your practice going to be like the next day? I said, well, because Pat was busy. I said, Rogie, I can't answer that question. He said, what do you mean you can't answer that question? I said, I can't answer it. So we went on about 4 or 5 times. He asked me that question. I said, I can't answer it. I can't answer it. I can't answer it. Pat comes in. He says, how's it going? Rogie says, geez, I don't know with this cigar. He says, he won't answer a question. He says, what question won't he answer? He says, I asked him, what are you going to do for practice after you lose 10 games? Pat says, what's the answer? I said, I can't answer that question. I'm sorry. He says, why can't you answer it? He says, because I'm not going to lose 10 games in a row. And I wouldn't waste time thinking about that. Pat says, you know, I've lost 10 games in a row. I said, well, I'm sorry, but that's just not going to happen. And as we lose our first game, I'm going to think of everything that I can do to not lose the second game, or second game to the third game. So anyhow, somehow, being a smart butt that I was, I got the job. I don't know exactly how, but I got the job, and that's what brought me into the American Hockey League. And I loved coaching in the American Hockey League because you help guys on the ice, off the ice. And the off the ice is usually more important than the on the ice stuff. I watched my first year, I watched guys running around, you know, fresh out of college, fresh out of junior, and I'm listening to this stuff about girls and this and that. And I says, come on. I had a meeting one day. I says, do me a favor. When you go home this summer, would you please go out with the girl that you went with in high school or college or wherever? Because that's the girl, that's the person who loved you for who you are, not who you have become here because you're now a professional hockey player. The next year, the guys came back. 2 guys got engaged to the girls from back when. Billy Armstrong and Corey Schwab. And they both got married. And those are the things that are huge for a coach. The off-ice stuff and the on-ice stuff. It's both great. So in closing, I appreciate your time, but in closing, I got to go back to what I couldn't say before. My wife, Wendy, better known now as Bella because of my grandchildren, our grandchildren, has been a single mother for more years than I'd like to admit to. And she's also shared her husband with another wife. And that's the game of hockey. And she knew that she was top priority after the playoff season, all summer until training camp. And she did a great job with our 4 children. And she's still doing a great job. So I love you very much. I want to thank the American League for the people who voted me in here. Again, to the other inductees back here, congratulations. To you guys out back, if I don't say this, then I'm not a coach, and I still feel as though I'm a coach. I watched you guys at breakfast this morning. And some of you are embarrassing. People are always watching. And I watched last night on some of the drills that you guys did. I did that once when the National Hockey League and the WHA merged. I think we called it shootout. If you don't know the rules to the game, then you can't perform in the game. Come on. ask questions. And some of you look like you didn't really want to do it. It takes one person to like something that you do, to fight for you to be a pro player, to get to the next level. You got to realize that you're being watched all the time. Be sharp, be courteous, be prepared for whatever comes up. And if you do that, then that one guy can get you to the show. Doug Barkley watched me in one exhibition game. He was my coach in Virginia, my first year. I was told that I was going to be going to the Central League, to Fort Worth Wings. Played that game, and afterwards, they came to me the next day and said, there's been a change. One guy, Doug Barkley, says he wants to have you down in Virginia. He says he sees something in you. Well, Doug Barkley lost his eye in Chicago when he played with the Detroit Red Wings. So I don't know exactly what he saw because he only had one eye, but I was appreciative that he wanted to see me play for him. That started me. One guy, Doug Barkley, started me going on to the Detroit Red Wings eventually. So think about what you do, guys, how you dress, how you handle yourself off the ice as well as on the ice. And like Dave said, if you've made it to this All-Star game, you're probably going to do all right for yourselves. And I want to thank all the fans that I've ever played in front of, coached in front of, or been at a rink and watched with. Because the fans are what's important to us. They allow us our lifestyles, they allow us our careers, and they allow this great sport of hockey to continue. I thank you all very much. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, the AHL Hall of Fame class of 2020.
Thank you to the new members. Thank you to all those who came up to speak. Thank you to all of you for attending. And with that, we'll conclude today's ceremony. We look forward to seeing all of you at the All-Star Challenge. Thank you very much for being part of this special day. Thank you.